The other day, I was taking a nap, and I had a strange dream. It happens sometimes. Usually not when I take naps, but I guess you're actually sleeping, so it's always a possibility. It was a really strange dream because for some reason it was hanging out with my grand uncle, which is somebody I haven't met a lot in my life. It's not a person that means anything to me, really. So I don't know how that happened. And for some reason, there were like androids, and not the Dragon Ball kind, thankfully. The newer kind, I guess. It was kind of strange. I felt almost like a psyop, but for some reason, those words resonated with me a little bit, right? I guess I would treat the androids like a pet. And you know what? I think that makes sense. They're not human, but at the same time, they are somewhat uh engaging. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to explain. I guess it's kind of hard to explain. That was a real strange dream. Uh, Usually when I take naps, the dreams I get, if I get any, usually some sort of strange mix of what's going on TV at that moment. It's usually not really deep sleep or anything like that. So that really took me off guard. Let's get some music here. But it's fair to say, I'm not a big fan of the clankers, okay? I don't like them. They seem kinda silly. They don't seem that useful to me. Oh, they're the future. Are you sure about that? I don't know what all that means. I don't know. I'm not that sure. I don't think I have AI stuff for today, which is it is kind of funny, right? Because when I was talking about that, what's the name of the subreddit again? Talked about it 2 weeks ago. The my boyfriend is AI, so I made that into a highlight. People were hating on it. I got actual complaints about it, even though I'm just a tiny guy. So you know it's bad. Oh, why do you care so much? I just don't understand. It's the same as being gay. I don't know all that, okay? I don't think comparing gay people to a really bad algorithm is a good comparison. But maybe that's just me. And they will call me homophobic, by the way. Insanity. Absolute insanity. So things are way worse than I expected. Which is never good. I hate being right, though. I do hate being right. Oh, thing is so stiff today, I don't know why. I had to try and get to bed like 2 hours earlier than usual at some point. That'd be pretty nice. So, since things are never good, I bring out my browser. It's never good. Nothing is good. I hate it here. I think I have everything. We're going go short today. My throat was not doing great earlier. I think it's okay now, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna be talking a lot. This is, indeed, the end of an age, I suppose. Let's start with some Twitter stuff. I can't dangle. It's the bug. All started with this stupid ass dog. Oh, you cannot do that. You cannot have a silly dog doing a silly salute. That's illegal. What do you mean that's illegal? I guess the government won at the end. Kinda, maybe, I'm not sure anymore. I have some very bad news. Buddha was put down today. He was 12 years old, had lost the use of both of his back legs, lost control of his bladder and bowels, was taking seizures and was starting to go completely blind, as well as a myriad of other health issues that were only getting worse. It it reached the point he could barely walk. I feel like that happens a lot, especially with small dogs. Which is a shame, but at the same time... Do you think this is the face of evolution? I'm not a big fan of the pugs. They are still looking, but those things have to be suffering constantly. We cared for him and threw money at the vets as much as we could, but sadly it wasn't enough to stop him from suffering. So I had to make it a very difficult decision. Having his home with me and Sue present, I think they divorced, right? I think that is true. He had a last meal of pork and sirloin. I cradled his head as he passed on, both absolutely broken over it. How my entire career to that dog, not wrong. He was a great dog, a loyal friend, and I'm going to miss him very much. I love that dog. He was a good boy. He probably was, right? Okay, alright. It might be fine to show it, but this side's getting a little bit too spicy, you know? That might be a bad idea. I don't know about all that. It's the end of an era, man. It's the end of an era. And it was meant to happen, obviously, because that's real. Small dogs don't really live that long. And dogs usually get just a collection of health issues. Selective breathing, that's kind of bad. I was thinking about this the other day, I don't know why. It was not because of the split by tank here. But for some reason, humans are so smart. Are we sure? I don't know about that one. But have you seen actual selective breathing by people? It's not that great. I'm not talking just about cats. Cats are a different conversation here. It's also really bad. Just now has to be, you know, really short, really flat. And they can barely breathe properly, which is absolutely terrible. But have you seen, which I don't think it's really talked about, even though it's a really big problem, German Shepherds. They have been bred to a failure at this point. If you see an actual normal German Shepherds, like, sure, it's a big dog, it's not gigantic, it's like a normal looking dog, with normal proportions. But they're bred so their hip is as low as possible. Some of them cannot even walk. That's really bad. And I'm not afraid against breathing or anything, but doing something like that is just inhumane. What a humane society this is, isn't it? It's kind of bad. It's not the only dogs. If you've seen, like, I think Pitbull is one of them. I think the other one, the Bulldog. Also, a really bad example of that. They're really short, really chunky, and they can barely breathe. They used to be much bigger, like 100 years ago. That's also kind of bad. I think, maybe Boxer? I'm not quite sure. It's been a while. But they have been bred to have really strange proportions, and it doesn't work. It's not great. They suffer a lot. Please stop. It's really bad. That was not the topic here, but I thought I would mention it. And I find it to be quite important, I suppose. But now you might be wondering, okay, we have the main dish. What is going on? Right? What is going on? Why am I always right and why is it always bad? Well, it finally happened. And it's even worse than you might expect, as usual. So we have this article here by TechCrunch. Google will require developer verification for Android apps outside the Play Store. This is not a surprise, people are talking about this now, even though I was one of the first guys to break this news weeks ago, which is kinda funny. But as you will see, it always gets worse, which is insane. Why? How? How are people so stupid? I just don't understand. I was talking about this past couple of days on a Discord server, It's made by a friend of mine, and most of the guys were just like, well, it's just the end of an era. And like, and you're just gonna take it? Just going to accept it and squabble and die? God damn it. That's so disgusting. That's so disgusting to me. Well, there's nothing we can do. See? Demoralized. Just demoralized. So now people will take absolutely everything and anything, which is never good, because it affects everyone. And you know who belongs to everyone? Me! I don't like the shit! Get the hell out of here! You'll stand on security measures around Android app distribution. The company announced on Monday. Starting next year, Google will begin to verify the identities of developers distributing their apps on Android devices. Not just those who distribute via the Play Store. Why? But why though? Right? This has always been one of the main questions. But why? If I make an app, which I can, and I have done before, why do you care, Google, what I do with my own phone? That's not for you to decide. It's actually a really big deal. Changes will affect all certified Android devices once live. The global rollout will be more gradual. And yes, this global rollout is actually really funny, as we'll see in a little bit. Tech Giant stresses that this does not mean developers can distribute outside of the Play Store through other app stores or via site loading. Android will remain open in that regard. Well, with an asterisk. You have to be verified. But what does that mean? Well, first of all, you have to pay for it. Sure, I get it, it's not that expensive. But you have to pay for it, which you didn't have to before. So that's a little bit strange. And on top of that, if Google doesn't like it, they can just say no. Because that's what happens every single time they do something like this. They start acting like editors. You're not an editor, you're barely a platform in this case. You just happen to have most control over Android, which that shouldn't be the case. That wasn't the case before. So once again, enshittification, I love it here. However, developers who appreciate the anonymity of alternative distribution methods will no longer have that option. How curious. Anonymity, I wonder why. Google says this will help to get down bad actors who have their identity to distribute malware, commit financial fraud, or steal use of personal data. This has to be the biggest fucking cope I've seen my entire life. This is insane, because this is not happening. This is really funny, because this is not fucking happening. Not like this, at least, right? Malware, financial fraud, or stealing personal data? Sure, that is happening. It's also extremely funny they mention if stealing users' personal data when it is you, Tomaka, Google, that is doing this. It's not me making a silly and funny app. Also, Android, especially nowadays, is so easy to control. If you're making an Android app, I can say this because I know, because this is my fucking profession once again. And if you want to do something special with it, like let's say access the camera or access photos or even access the internet, you need to have the permission set. When you create the app, you have the manifest and you have to set them up. But then, when they install it and they use the app, they will appear as the permissions you have to set. And even if that was not enough, because that was always the case, at least this has been the case for what, 10 to 15 years, when I started learning Android, that was already a thing. On top of that, nowadays, in modern Android, you can pick and choose the kind of permissions you can give to every single app. So it's even easier nowadays than ever. It's, dare you say, even more secure than before. So I don't know what's the deal here. I don't even understand what's going on anymore. It's so silly. It's so stupid. It's a massive fucking cope. And they mention stuff like malware or financial fraud. That doesn't really happen through apps. That happens because this is a fucking phone and the security doesn't exist. I do remember way back in the day when I went to the bank. I don't even remember what I was doing at the bank. But the guy at the bank told me, well, we have this bank app. I don't remember even what it did, but it's probably the usual shit that, oh, you can check your balance and you can also pay through your phone. And I was like, you're gonna fucking convince me to put that thing on my phone? Why are you saying that? It's really, really insecure. But I can assure you, the app is really secure. And I was like, dude, you're gonna lie to me. I don't care that the app itself is secure. When the phone itself is not, because they never are. They're always prone to exploits. I've seen that many, many times before. I haven't done that myself, because security, sadly, is not my forte. That's a different career altogether. But it keeps happening. Because you can keep fucking with this through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, many, many things, without your control. So, that's a big no-no to me. And that's not because I installed something strange in my phone. Ooh, no. No, it's not that one. Trust me, it's not that one. And I've also seen some strange defense of this, which it's absolutely fucking hilarious to somebody like me that actually works with this shit. I've seen a guy, it was a reply to Pirate Nation, I think? I'm not sure. He said, oh, who cares? This is really not going to affect people. It's only a tiny amount of people that do this because you need to be quite knowledgeable to do this. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. It's really easy to install apps from outside. You don't really need to be that tech savvy to know. You just need to go to the settings to allow the apps to be installed by themselves, as from the store, which that's already a setting, by the way. So usually, when you're installing stuff, that's on purpose, it's not by mistake. And then you download the APK, and then you install it, and that's it. It's not that difficult. How do you know this is not that difficult? I managed to convince, well, not convince, but we managed to get, years ago, many years ago, a group of really old people living in a rural area to install on their tablets. They didn't even know how to scroll a fucking tablet, but we got them to activate that option in the settings and install our app so they could work properly. They didn't know anything about phones, they didn't know anything about tablets. It was hilarious. We got complaints. Oh, I can't see the information. Do you know how to scroll? What is that? That was the level. That was the level of technology they had. And we managed to get them to install the app without problem. Are people this stupid nowadays? I just don't get it. I just don't understand. It's really, really strange. Keep reading. Let's keep reading a little bit further. In its own survey, Google has that more than 50 times more malware came through internet cellular sources compared with Google Play. It has required developer verification since 2023. Okay, cool. Fuck around and find out. If you're selling stuff outside of the store, you should understand the dangers, because that's always been a thing with computers. So, if you fuck that up, that's on you. I think that's fair. Initially, Google will allow interested developers to sign up for early access starting in October 2025. Test the system and provide feedback. In March 2026, Verification will go live for all developers. By September 2026, any app installed on an Android device in Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand will have to meet the new requirements. Starting in 2027, the requirements will begin rolling out globally. Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. As far as I know, none of these countries belong to the European Union. So much for the DSA, so much for protection, so much for oh, it's just Europe. See what I mean? I told you guys, this would happen. Did I get it wrong? I never do. God fucking damn it. They always do the same. How do I know? I'm old. It keeps happening. Developers will have to provide their legal name, address, email, and phone number. Okay. I'm assuming you can do this still if you're a company, right? You could push independent developers to register as a business for their own privacy's sake. Ah, how curious. It's always about privacy. How did that happen? Apple implemented a similar change for the EU App Store earlier this year to comply with the Digital Services Act, a regulation that now requires app developers to provide their trader status to submit new apps or app updates for distribution. Google announced that student and hobbyist developers will be able to use a separate type of Android Developer Console account when the system rolls out, as their needs differ from commercial developers. Sure thing, pal. Sure thing. Surely this is not gonna be riddled with problems, still. The changes can have a significant impact on the Android app ecosystem and app distribution, as Google works to cut down on the security issues and malware that have typically plagued this platform. Security issues and malware that have typically plagued its platform. What are you talking about? I have never seen anybody complain about malware in Android devices. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying this is probably just an overstatement of an issue, even if the issue exists, which I actually don't know. Once again, no more privacy. Once again, no more anonymity. Why? Oh, we don't like that one. Oh, why are you so evil? What are you trying to do with your anonymity? I don't know. Fucking around? But you can also find out, which is fine. So... yeah? It's actually coming. It's gonna be even worse. Yay! And people, of course, right now are saying, okay, but why though? This was literally the only edge Android had over other platforms like iOS. To be fair, Apple phones are really expensive. Not a big fan of Apple in general, but they're kinda right still. Maybe not the only edge, but an important edge nonetheless. So now, we're edgeless. Might be time to find a new job, god fucking damn it. That's not good, that's never good. Doesn't have comments here, which is something I quite dislike about this site. If they have comments, I can see them. So, that means the UI is bad. Hey, you should feel bad. TechCrunch, what are you talking about here? Crazy, absolutely crazy. And now I have to wonder too, here, what's gonna happen with the additional stores, right? If you're into games, you know what I'm talking about, the likes of QApp and all sorts of things that let you actually install games from other regions. That was extremely important for the longest time to play Crumble Fantasy. To be fair, the app didn't work as well as the browser version, so I don't know about that. And the thing is, the apps you download through the store are all legal, I'm pretty sure, because they're official, just from different regions. But you need to do different stuff to get the stores themselves. So that's gonna be a problem. I don't know what's gonna happen with emulators, for example, and all that, so... yeah, that's not good. That's not good, that's never good. I was thinking with my phone, I don't know why. Guess I was talking about it, I guess. Not good, man, not good. And speaking of the DSA, or the OSA, I suppose, which are pretty much the same thing, let's have this. Mastodon says it doesn't have the means to comply with age verification laws. Kinda funny. I'm not a Mastodon user, and I've never been. But it is my understanding that Mastodon is filled with communists and also has a CP problem. So that's, I'm not saying this is a lie. I'm saying, what a strange thing to say. Central social media network, Mastodon, says it can comply with Mississippi's age verification law. Mississippi, what the fuck? Did you really think this wasn't coming to the US? Oh boy, do I have bad news for you. The same law that saw rival Blue Sky pull out of the state, because it doesn't have the means to do so. The social nonprofit explains that Mastodon doesn't track its users, which makes it difficult to enforce such legislation. Nor does it want to use IP address-based blocks, as those would unfairly impact people who are traveling, it says. So, I'm not a Fediverse user. That might be a bad idea for me to not be, right? And the Fediverse is pretty useful because it is decentralized. It should be big anonymity if it works properly. Nobody likes that. When you say nobody, I mean the powers that be. I don't care which side. Nobody likes that. Because it always creates mavericks, dare I say. So it doesn't matter who you have, they're gonna crack down on that. If they cannot do it, if they cannot do it with propaganda or mechanics or whatever, they're gonna use the law. Literally what's happening. And maybe Mastodon has it coming. If they actually have illegal content. Sure. It's never gonna stop there. It's never gonna be just illegal content. While you can have 18 plus content in on the Twitter machine, you cannot see that if you're British, because that's obviously pornographic in nature. First thing they censored, anti-immigration protests. How curious, how curious. Sending follows a lively back and forth conversation earlier this week between Mastodon founder and CEO Eugen Rocco, speaking of Grand Fantasy, I guess, and Blue Sky board member and journalist Mike Masnick. In the conversation published on their respective social networks, I think this is Rocco, right? It may be Rochko, I'm not quite sure, I've never seen the name before, claimed, "There's nobody that can decide for the Fediverse to block Mississippi. The Fediverse is the decentralized social network that includes Mastodon and other services, and is powered by the Activity Tab protocol." Now, a little bit about it. I've seen mentions of that in discussions. "And that's why real decentralization matters," says Rocco. Masnick pushed back, questioning why Mastodon's individual servers, like the one Rocco runs at Mastodon.social, will not also be subject to the same 10,000 USD per user fines for non-compliance with the law. Because to be fair, the law is absolutely unfair. At the time for reporting of this change, Mastodon GGMBH, I don't know what that is. Is that a guy? An organization, I guess. The community-funded non-profit organization didn't respond to a request for comment. Yeah, it usually happens. On Friday, however, the non-profit shared a statement with TechCrunch to clarify its position, saying that while Mastodon's own servers specify a minimum age of 16 to sign up for its services, it does not have the means to apply age verification to its services. Wouldn't it be against the idea of the Fediverse itself? It should be absolutely free, with little to no control, and then you want to add control. Sure, I get it, it's the law, it's still really strange. Still kinda funny. So, I don't know. I understand the the opposition, I suppose. That is, the Mastodon software doesn't support it. The Mastodon 4.4 release in July 2025 added the ability to specify a minimum age for signing up and other legal features for handling terms of service, probably in response to increased regulation around these areas. The new feature allows server administrators to check users' ages during sign up, but each check data is not stored. Ha! Sure thing, I'm gonna believe that. I'm gonna fucking believe that. It's not stored. Sure, like the app, like the D app, or like the mail D app, it keeps fucking happening. They always do. Perhaps because they're incompetent, or perhaps because selling that data is some juicy money. It is kinda juicy. That means individual server owners have to decide for themselves if they believe in each verification component is a necessary addition. The nonprofit says Mastodon is currently unable to provide direct or operational assistance to the broader set of Mastodon server operators. Instead, it encourages owners of Mastodon and other federal servers to make use of resources available online, such as the EFTAS library, which provides trust and safety support for volunteer social network moderators. Sure, but then you have a different problem. You're adding more pieces to your chain, so it's actually easier to break. And if something on that piece of the chain doesn't work properly, it's gonna be your fault anyway. So that could also be another source of troubles. The nonprofit also advises server admins to observe the laws of the jurisdictions where they are located and operate. Mastodon notes that it's not tracking or able to comment on the policies and operations of individual servers that run Mastodon. One of the reasons Mastodon was founded was to allow different jurisdictions to have social media that is independent of the US. But the US said, I don't like that, I want more control. Because being independent, it's always a problem for the powers that be. People are free to choose to have their account on Mastodon server whose policies meet their needs. Once again, no comments. Mississippi says just runs law, but decentralized social networks to the death. Probably the same shit here. So, it's probably the end of the world as you know it. In the internet world, at least. Which is not something I like. They have been pushing for the stop of anonymity for a long time now. I'm not a big fan of that. Obviously not. It doesn't make any sense. However, it's not random, right? And this is, as some people say, the third iteration of the internet. I'm not a big fan of the government. I maybe I should explain it a little bit further, right? Maybe some people don't know. Because I'm an old man here on the internet, and I'm not the oldest here, even, so it's kind of funny. But back in the day, you had full-on anonymity, full-on the Wild Wild West, as they called it. At www, World Wide Web, Wild Wild West, it was literally the same. Kind of funny. And that was, there's a golden age. It was really interesting. Also, when forums were more popular, I suppose. Then shit started to go down at late 2000s, maybe. And then the second internet came with a lot of people got into the internet in the past 15 years, give or take. Especially in 2016, which is a different issue altogether. And now, you have less anonymity because people were less savvy, which sounded really stupid to me. It was partially spearheaded thanks to social media. In some social media sites, I think Facebook is one of them, you have to use your full legal name or you get banned, in theory. So that's a little bit strange, but using first name, last name became way too common. And that was, I guess, the step of normalization. And now we have this. You cannot be anonymous anymore. You cannot have anonymity. I'm not talking about the epic hackers, which are kind of gay nowadays. They're just a bunch of fucking commies anyway. But this is by law. You need to give your identification to these sites because the government says so. But why? Well, as always, it's just about control. And you have prevalent people in the talking spaces about, or against, government coverage, usually, being so fucking stupid about the internet. Sometimes they're too young, some of the times they're way too old. I've seen far too many times this, oh, we're using an anonymous account. Why don't you show your real face and your legal name? I'm like, how stupid can you be? That happened a lot with Jordan Peterson, of all things. And people were like, dude, are you retarded? What's wrong with you? No, but really, as somebody like Jordan Peterson that suffered the effects of literal cancel culture because of his radical ideas of not wanting compelled speech by law, you're trying to get people in the same kind of problem because people understand the dangers of cancel culture is still alive, by the way. So being anonymous is actually really useful to combat that. Is it perfect? No, but it helps. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it, right? And it's way too common nowadays to see people just using full legal names. Maybe that's why I'm so fond of vtubing in that regard. Because, you know, I don't think I should explain any further. If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's nothing dangerous or anything like that. I just don't want to show too much behind the curtains, right? I don't want to be the guy that tells kids that Santa Claus is not real. But as we all know, Santa Claus is actually real, so maybe it's a bad example. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly. I'm just trying my best here. And obviously what's going to happen in the near future, if you say something that people might find objectionable, that's going to affect you at a primal level in real life. Because that's going to be tied to your banking even. So when they tell you this is social credit score, it's not schizophrenia, it's quite literally what's happening. This has been pushed for many years already. It's not something I like. And I don't know how to combat this, aside from complaining. That's the only thing I can do here. It's kinda bad, man, it's kinda bad. And I do remember, this was kinda funny back in the day, right? When I was studying before getting into the actual workforce. But you need to be careful with social media, right? Because if you apply for a job, the people at the company are gonna look through your social media posts and all that, trying to find something to not give you the job. And I was like, you fucking idiot. Good luck with that. Good fucking luck with that. You know why? Because it's fucking impossible to find me on the internet using my full legal name. Funny how that works. And that's always been the case. I've never used my full legal name. I've never used an actual picture of myself. That's why it's hilarious. Ah, they're gonna find it. Yeah? Sure thing, pal. Sure thing. Good luck with that. And now that's also going away in a way, I suppose. Now more anonymity. I don't need people looking at my Twitter. If I shit post, I shit post. It has nothing to do with my job. Get the fuck out of here. Ah, fucking damn it. That's so annoying. But we might have maybe a potential strange ally in all of this. That was really strange. Internet forum 4chan sues UK regulator in US over free speech. The frogs. It's the frogs! That's crazy. US internet forums... by the way, internet forums 4chan and Kimu forums have filed a legal case in the United States against Britain's media regulator Ofcom, taking its enforcement of the country's online safety law and violated Americans' right to freedom of speech. It's true and real, and you better work fast with this to create a really strong precedent, because this shit is coming to the US. I mean, I'm not making shit up. I'm literally not making shit up, it's right here. The suit escalates a clash between tech groups and regulators in Britain and the European Union. The regulators said that they are trying to protect the users online, while critics, led by US President Donald Trump, accused them of threatening free speech and targeting US companies. Not wrong, actually, but this might create some sort of internet bill, and it's never gonna be good. I know some people have been talking about creating some sort of internet bill of rights. It's only a pipe dream. It's never gonna be good. It's always gonna be a problem no matter what you do, because when it's written, it's not complete freedom, and that's always at a cost. 4chan, an irreverent site that hosts content, including pornography and conspiracy theories, is being investigated over its compliance with the new British law. Okay, I've never been into 4chan, but I've seen people that did or do or whatever. Apparently 4chan nowadays just like treated too. So you know as well. Ofcom said in June it has received complaints about potential illegal content on 4chan, and that the platform had not responded to a statutory information request. I mean, isn't it an American site? Yeah, they don't have to, I don't think. Not quite sure how it works with internet sites. WeFarms, which has hosted harassment campaigns, has also received demands from Ofcom to comply with the law according to the filing. This is from the two sides that Ofcom sent threatening communications to US-based internet companies that interfered with their constitutional rights and operations. As we all know, there's no freedom of speech in the UK, and holy shit, this is so fucking funny. I think I saw that clip this past week on Twitter. I don't have it on tab, which is an absolute shame. It was what British people think of the US, and I think it was a girl had the fucking audacity to say, but you don't have free speech in the USA, unlike here. And I'm like, hold up. You have free speech in the UK, the country famous for jailing people for fucking memes and posts on Facebook or private chatting in WhatsApp. Are you gonna tell me you're more free than the US? Sure, the US is not perfect, but they're not Soviet Russia yet. God damn it. That's crazy. That's crazy. The propaganda, man, it's absolutely real. Lawyers for the site said they operated in compliance with US laws, and their editorial decisions were protected by the First Amendment. Foreign governments, particularly those in Europe, which have not managed to build technology sectors of their own, have, for the past half decade or more, sought to control the American internet and how American competitiveness through a range of legislative and non-legislative initiatives, the suit said. I'm entirely wrong. Ofcom said it was aware of the lawsuit, and that the Online Safety Act, any service that has links with the UK and has duties to protect UK users, no matter where in the world it is based, a spokesperson said. I don't think you can enforce this, right? I don't think you can actually enforce that. So, because you want to control what companies from abroad do or show, that doesn't mean you can do it. Just the company is still American. So if the company is still American, why should they be holding to a stupid fucking British law? It doesn't make any sense. Once again, you can say whatever you want in the law, that doesn't mean it's gonna work. That does not, however, require them to protect users based anywhere else in the world. Both sides said that they had no presence, operations, or infrastructure outside of the United States. So, probably another firewall. Probably the UK will not be able to access 4chan. Cool. Under the Act, however, links with Britain can mean having a significant number of UK users. Action that Ofcom can take for non-compliance includes fines of up to 10% of qualifying worldwide revenue. What? What do you do if you run out of loss? That'd be hilarious. Sir Green partner at law firm Kerem Mukin Rosamond, UK, said the suit, irrespective of its merits, was a critical moment. Ofcom's response to this lawsuit will be crucial, and this has the risk of being replicated across the United States and even globally, he said. As it should be. As it should fucking be, dude. Oh, but the UK law says this. Why the fuck do I care? Am I British? No. Is my company in the UK? No. Shut the fuck up. It's that easy. Fuck off. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't need to complain with your fucking bullshit. It's not the law of my land. And that's actually what's happening with payment processors. After all. Ah, but this is illegal. That's illegal in a different fucking country. I don't care that Australia's completely cocked. Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe buying loyalty shit might be illegal in Australia. This is not Australia. And I will be buying from Japan, which is also not Australia. So what's the big deal? Well, we want more control. Yeah, I know. I fucking know that. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna send them my money on a Karen Pigeon. That's gonna be interesting to see. God fucking damn it, dude. It's always the same fucking bullshit. Always a massive overreach. Well, those fucking guys, I hate them. Hate them with a passion. Fucking British people. See? See? Hating them is always justified when they do shit like this. God damn it, I hate them. But there are some things I love to hate. Well, most things I hate, I actually love to hate. Yeah, I think that's correct. But sometimes it's also funny. There's gonna be a big changing what we're gonna talk about, but it kinda works, I guess, maybe. Speaking of law in the US, maybe. What about that? There has been running around so much stuff about the new game that's about illegal immigration in the USA. That's really strange. It's not going well for them. Imagine my shock. Yeah, hear this from .park Place, mostly on the site that I found with this. I looked at the comments. They're schizoing out. They're a little bit too schizo for me, even sometimes. Take us north. A legal immigration game dev Anima Interactive scraps internet presence after explosive backlash. Huh. Curious. How did that happen? Well, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I think I'm missing a link here. I will need to bring that up. I'm gonna do it right now, before I forget. I missed that. Oh, I know why. I know why. It's fine, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. It's not for now, it's for later. No. Oh, I didn't open it at the end of the day. What a shame. I thought I did. I thought I did. Huh. That's interesting. Let me look this up. Are you sure I want to talk about this? If I can find it. Oh, there we go. And it would make sense to talk about this just after this article. I think they're close enough. Can you not? I hate the New York Post with a burning passion. There you go, we're back. Back in time. Anime Interactive, the studio behind Take Us North, one of the most controversial games of the year, has raised itself from the internet just days after growing scrutiny connected it to Microsoft, Wings Interactive, Sweet Baby Inc., and even the United Nations. That's kind of fun. I mean, the Microsoft connection was really easy because it was Microsoft advertising this game anyway. So yeah, that is at least undeniable. The game that sparked it all, at the center of the firestorm is Take Us North, a narrative survival game developed by Anime Interactive. The project was pitched as a social conscious experience. An empathy-driven title where players take on the role of a guia or guide, escorting groups of migrants as they cross deserts, fences, and border patrols on their way into the United States. So a criminal. Got you. On paper, the developers describe it as a way to shed light on migrant struggles, drawing from interviews and anthropological research. What about the... What about the... how do they call them? The coyotes, right? The guys that traffic people through the border. How about that one? That's not good. Mainstream outlets like Wired eagerly promoted it as an empathy machine. Microsoft lent legitimacy through its ID at Xbox Developer Acceleration Program. Wow, that's acceleration alright. Which provided early funding and exposure. But critics saw something different. To them, Take Us North was less about the storytelling, more about glorifying criminal coyotes and normalizing illegal border crossings. After all, in practice, the project isn't just telling stories, they're actively role-playing the process of smuggling migrants into the United States. Therapy pulls back the curtain. This is Master of TDS, I'm pretty sure, with his wife, I think? The guy's version might have stayed within gaming circles, if not for the independent Watchdog channel. Excuse me. Gothic Therapy, hosted by Master of the TDS and Writing Raven. Their investigation argued that Take Us North wasn't a grassroots indie project at all, but rather the product of a carefully constructed pipeline of institutional support. It wouldn't be surprising, honestly. After all, we've seen how huge games like Dashboard have direct funding from several governments, so I can't believe that. Here's what they uncovered. Wings Interactive. The shadowy funding group once again emerged in the picture. Wings co-founder Audrey Prince, that's an unfortunate name, publicly promoted Take Us North, endorsing it and helping pipeline it into the indie festival circuit. While Wings may not have to really bankroll the title, its pressing card institutional weight. Makes sense. Sweet Baby Inc. Gothic Therapy reminded viewers of the connection between Wings and Sweet Baby Inc., specifically through Kim Belair, a co-founder of FBI who served on Wings' board. While there's no evidence Sweet Baby directly worked on Take Us North, their influence within Wings ties them indirectly to the project. I mean, might be a little bit of a stretch, but I guess it's fine to mention it. Clever Endeavor Games, another studio, Clever Endeavor, reportedly invested in Take Us North while also financing Wings' 2025 Elevate program, which funnels money toward activist-driven projects. Many such cases. Microsoft. Through IT at Xbox, Microsoft gave Anime Interactive corporate legitimacy, pushing Take Us North into the mainstream. They also did actual advertising on Twitter. The United Nations! Perhaps the most shocking revelation. Gothic Therapy reported that Take Us North was showcased at the United Nations under the god name The American Dream, what a strange name, just 9 months ago. A game simulating illegal border crossings had not only corporate but also global institutional support. That's insane, that's crazy. The 12 Nations painted Take Us North as far more than an indie experiment. It was a case studying how Wings, Sweet Baby, and rallies funnel activist projects into the spotlight, and how corporations and even international institutions help protect them. The public projection. For all the institutional backing, the public wasn't buying it. On the Game Trailers YouTube channel, Take Us North trailer languished at only 3,800 views, with an embarrassing 433 dislikes to just 69 likes on August 26th. That feels kind of like a meme, right? 69 likes, almost 420 dislikes, I don't know about all that. The Anime Interactive YouTube channel fared no better, with just 61 subscribers. Without Microsoft wings and festival announcements, the game would have likely gone unnoticed in many such cases. The pirate only broke into the mainstream once influencers like Asmongold, Smash JT, Grams, and Gothic Therapy began exposing its premise and connections. Even Elon Musk responded to the controversy, calling the project simply weird. Anime Interactive vanishes. It was in the midst of this growing scrutiny that Anime Interactive made its most drastic move yet. It described its entire online presence. I wonder why. I don't know if that's the case, but this leads me to believe they probably had more shit here that they didn't want to show you. So that's a little bit interesting, to say the least. I have a tweet here from Smash GT. Studio Anime creates its Twitter account after getting exposed by Asmongold for pushing illegal alien simulator to us north at the Gamescom. Now the head of the studio and WF affiliated, that's insane if true, Carlo Reyes has also deleted her account at Crayus121. And they have also promoted their Instagram account and just now promoted their own actual website for the game. I just thought this, if they were so proud of what they are creating, why did they run and hide everywhere as soon as a light was flashing their project asking questions about funding sources and connections to the WEF? That's interesting. That's interesting, how did that happen? Much they commented, yada yada yada, yeah. We just took a look at this. And the official Tickets North website, once used to promote the game and connect to its kicks of the campaign, was locked behind a private wall. In short, the studio vanished without a trace as soon as people started looking into its connections. I wonder why. That seems a little bit too strange, what can you say? But the Anime Interactive disappearance matters. Instead of defending the project, spreading their artistic choices, or addressing critics head on, Anime Interactive chose to run and hide, because they are spineless. Every single time. They know they're running propaganda, and they know they cannot win against the critics. Even if the critics are just trying to be fair, instead of attacking. That's kinda funny. That's kinda funny. That choice sends a long message. It suggests that it was unprepared to answer tough questions about its funding sources and institutional support. The backlash pierced through the PR class and struck at the heart of the project's legitimacy. Anyone may have feared that further exposure would unravel even more uncomfortable truths. Yeah, I can tell you the third one is probably really correct, which is insane. Apart from quelling controversy, the disappearance has amplified it. Every deleted account, every locked page becomes fuel for those arguing that Take Us North was never just a harmless indie story, but part of a pipeline the industry doesn't want discussed. The stress and the effect. Happens all the time too. By skimming their presence, Anime Interactive has triggered what's known as the stress and effect. Or to tend to hide something only draws more attention to it. It's also classic, right? Because a lot of people, me included, especially me, I would say, are concerned by nature. Oh, just don't look at that. Why not? Why are you hiding? I wanna look. Why? Because you don't want me to look? I'm gonna look. Fuck you. I'm looking now. And that's always dangerous, because these guys are always really suspicious with the kind of shit they push out. I mean, quite literally, a legal immigration simulator, which could be a really funny game if done properly as a silly game. It was not the case. It was probably, we all know the truth, extremely propagandistic. Instead of simply weather criticism, the story might have died down. Instead, the disappearance is being read as confirmation that critics were right all along. Right all along. Is this me? Maybe. Yet they are terrible. Instead, the loudly marketed its socially conscious identity, and looks to ashamed or to compromise to defend its own work. The bottom line. Tigger's North has transformed from obscure indie game into global controversy. First came Microsoft's funding, the Wings endorsement, and then the United Nations showcase. Now, in the face of exposure, Anime Interactive has chosen to erase itself entirely. That reminds me, something that happened like a year ago? Close to a year ago, I think. There was this company, group, that was all about content policing. And they were trying to go after Elon Musk because, oh no man, not the Twitter, it's really dangerous. And Elon was like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna see you, and they just exploded when that happened. Oh, you have to understand, man, we don't have enough money for that, that's too much, we're gonna lose and be killed, so we're gonna kill ourselves. I wonder why. That's also really strange when you think about it. It's no longer about one video game. It's about transparency, accountability, and the pipeline of power-driven analytical projects into gaming. Whether players want them or not. And if Anime Interactive thought hiding would make the story go away, they were wrong. The scrutiny has only begun. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? That's kind of interesting. And yeah, just looking at this screenshot, it shows the classic, how do you call it? The color art style? You know, the shitty art style all of these in globalists use constantly. So, yeah, you can tell. If you have a good eye, you can tell. And the thing I also wanted to talk about, which I guess that's perfectly with this, was something really, really funny that's been running around for this past couple of days. Dark Money Group paying pro-dem influencers up to 8,000 USD a month, report. But I thought this only happened to the evil right-wing influencers. And no. Actually, if you actually take a look at these right-wing influencers, they have a lot of trouble getting money. Because they keep getting impersonated, debanked, and all that, so... yeah, not impersonated. Unpersoned, I suppose that's the correct terminology. So, why is that a surprise? That they're accusing their enemies of shit they do, because it happens every single time. Oh, wow, what a shocker. Let's get through this. A secretive dark money group tied to the Democratic Party is paying online influencers up to 8,000 USD a month to disseminate left-leaning talking points, according to a report. It's kind of funny, right? The commies, all for the money. How curious. The Girls Creator Incubator Program is said to be funded by the 1630 Fund, a non-profit sometimes portrayed as the left's answer to the Koch Network, and which has funneled money to dozens of democratic-friendly influencers, according to Wired magazine. Wired again? Are these guys actually useful? I thought they were just like trash copy and paste. Maybe I was wrong. News attached to the program span some of the most recognizable liberal voices online. They include Olivia Giuliana, the Gen Z activist who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention. Of course she was fucking paid, come on guys. Lauren Puretre, the former Playboy executive turned Occupy Democrats YouTuber. That's strange. And Barrett Adair, the content creator who runs the viral American Girl Doll themed meme account. I don't know about any of these guys. So well, no, yeah, she looks like a Democrat, I guess. But the program also includes Susan Lambert, who styles herself as Regina George Liberal, Ariel Fedor, a teacher with 1.4 million TikTok followers. I mean, are you actually an influencer if you have TikTok followers? I don't know about that. Thunder Jennings, the TLC reality star and older brother of trans influencer Jazz Jennings, and David Pac-Man. Host of a YouTube show. I bet he doesn't play Pac-Man. Lake McGowan, better known to her audience as Politics Girl, is also reported to be tied to the program. God damn it, dude, what kind of name is this? I'm gonna be talking politics and I'm a girl. I'm gonna call myself Politics Girl. Jesus Christ, dude. Of course they had to be asked to roast. Each of them and many more were brought into communication with Chorus, the non-profit arm of a for-profit influencer agency, to take part in the program. The 1630 Fund told the Post that it is a fiscal sponsor of Chorus, and that the group receives donations on Chorus's behalf and provides operational and administrative support for Chorus. That states it is not the original source of financing. So it's just a middleman, or it's money laundering. Maybe both. Could be both. Let's say both. Why not? We can have a little bit of both. The fiscal sponsorship model is common across philanthropy, and our work with Chorus is in compliance with all laws. The 1630 Fund told the Post. Nobody's saying here that this is illegal or it should be illegal. I don't think, at least I don't know if it's illegal, I don't think it is, right? But it's really funny that's happening to decide that accuses everybody else of doing this. How did that happen? Because that happens every single time. In all Crystal participants, more than 90 influencers were expected to join, according to Wired. To be fair, I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial. I do believe that these influencers, political pundits, however you're gonna call them, they should have, as public information, a list of their sponsors, like racers do. Just to make sure, just so you know exactly what's going on. Also politicians, okay? Also politicians. Why? I just wanna know. Why not? You're getting funding, the funding is legal, why should it be hidden? When you're a public figure that's moving politics in that way, right? Maybe not influencers, but politicians, absolutely. After all, the influencers are just normal people, maybe, kinda, who knows. The arrangement was cloaked in secrecy. I mean, unless they're getting paid directly by political parties, if they're getting paid directly by political parties or politicians, that should be public information and should be stated for everybody to see. I think that's fair. Content reviewed by Wired borrowed creators from publicly announcing the program, disclosing the identity of any founder, or even admitting they were being paid at all, the publication reported. A breach could mean expulsion from the program and the loss of thousands in monthly income, according to Wired. One class reportedly gave Chorus unilateral authority to demand creators to take down content produced at its events. Ooh, that's a little bit strange. That's a little bit too much, maybe? I don't know how I feel about that. Another recording influenced throughout any dealings with politicians through the organization, effectively turning Chorus into a gatekeeper between Democratic politicians and their online supporters, according to Wired. If that's the case, that should be also known. Any ties that involve politicians should be public. It only makes sense. It's the only way you have to probably know what's going on. I think that makes total sense, right? I think so. Hold on, let me check here. Cats. Something strange going on there. There's nothing I can do about it. Let's get fixed. Okay, alright. Some bugged at the restrictions in group chat. Some bugged at the restrictions, that's superior. It was really small, I didn't say it. In group chat among influencers devoted terms, one pro-abortion creator, Harry, quipped, I believe we're in stage 5, acceptance. Aaron Partners, a Gen Z news influencer, once hailed as the Gen Z Walter Cronkite. I don't know who any of these people are. It's reported to have told coaches it was take it or leave it. Ultimately, many signed. But the money though, that's why I hate these people. Not because they have different politics than mine. We could have reasonable disagreements, but they're so fucking weak. They're just a bunch of fucking cowards. I just hit my keyboard. Nothing happened, I hope. Kinda hit my fingertip. Because they always do this bullshit for the money. And they keep fucking following the bag. Because these fucking worms have no ideals of their own. They refuse to stand by their own fucking values. That's why you find most repulsive of all this. Show me your fucking conviction. Show me you're able to stand by your own values when you're getting the platform constantly, when nobody's paying you, when you keep being unpersoned and debanked. Do fucking that for once. They never will, because everything is for the money here. They're communists, by the way. I wonder how. I wonder why. Well, it's not about communism, it's about wanting your money for nothing. Yay! I like money! The program secrecy clause was deliberate, yeah, no wonder. It avoids a lot of public disclosure that you see on political ads. Graham Wilson, a lawyer for Chorus, setting a Zoom call with creators, according to Wired. Their names are showing up on reports filed with the FEC. FEC. I don't know what that is. Guess we can look that up. What is the FEC in this case? In English, please. I thought I said in English. Federal Election Commission, that makes sense. That's so annoying, and that's so annoying with fucking searching. I'm saying, give me the information in English. Why is it still not in English? I don't understand. It's so bad. So fucking annoying. Holy shit. That omission is exactly what alarms watchdogs. For democracy to thrive, we need transparency around who is paying for political messages. Elizabeth Dubois. Wow. A University of Ottawa professor who studies digital politics told the outlet, digital fucking politics, dude. Are you an expert in shoehead? Lamau? Dan Hyder, head of Santa Clara University's Marcellus Center for Applied Ethics, was even blunter. Applied ethics? Aren't ethics applied by default? I thought that was the case. If the country says you can disclose it, then it's pretty simple. You can take the money, Hyder told Wired. Yeah, the money was hard to resist. Oh, it's always about the money, man. Oh, the money is so succulent. Show me your fucking guts for once. Show me you're willing to die like a fucking dog, just like me. They're not, because they're fucking weak and pathetic. That's the worst of all. In addition to the 8,000 a month amplifier tier, some creators were offered smaller stipends, around 250 a month, to be part of what Kurtz described as a larger incubator, according to Word. That's a really strange naming convention. I don't know if I like it. In truly suspicious. Is this alien? Could be. The collective reach, Kurtz bragging for the rest of materials, tapped 40 million followers and 100 million weekly views. Already, the cohort has produced collaborative content. A new weekly series, Good News in Politics, features 6 influencers, including Elsa Orleans, Sandra Jennings, and at the Z activist, touting democratic wings. Wings? The creators encourage viewers to follow these creators, bringing you hope instead of doom scrolling. Lomao. For the Democratic Party, born by years to fill influencer outreach, the strategy marks a dramatic shift. This is absolutely fucking hilarious. Years of failed influencer outreach. How the fuck do you fail when you have the platforms batting for you? They're on your fucking side and you still lose. How stupid can you be? They're not legitimate at all. How is it that bad? I know that people like the underdogs, but still, dude, it's way too much. It's way too silly. After the Biden White House rose had critical creators and the Harris campaign alienated others, the party is now mimicking tactics long used by Republicans, who have spent decades cultivating a sprawling conservative media ecosystem. What a fucking lie, dude. What a fucking lie. Most of the people you see on the quote-unquote right wing, let's say on YouTube, they are either A, not Republicans, or B, not Americans. So your point here is just a fucking lie. It's just a lie. It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. Oh, look at them. The evil far right wing. Looks inside. 2004 Democrat. What? Huh? What are you talking about? It's insane. Absolutely insane. But they keep saying that to try and legitimize this. Just paying a bunch of people money. Oh, we need to pay our influencers because the right wing is doing the same. Right wing is not doing the same. Right wingers are usually grassroots. Unlike you. I thought you were the party of the people. What happened? Cesspit of hatred and lies. But while right-wing influencers often receive direct funding through PSAs or campaigns, Democrats are now accused of using non-profit intermediaries to obscure the money trail. The 1630 Fund, funded in 2009, is no small player. It poured 141 million USD into left-leaning causes during the 2018 midterms, 400 million during the 2020 cycle, and 196 million on ballot initiatives in 2022. So, it's huge propaganda that's not being accounted for publicly. I don't know if that should be allowed. Its foreign donors accounted for nearly 2/3 of its revenue last year. Now, through chorus, that money is flowing to TikTokers, YouTubers, and Instagram personalities. TikTokers. Lumao! It's absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. I mean, of course it's TikTok, right? They wouldn't accept right wing anyway. But I don't expect people using TikTok to be of human intelligence. Not all creators welcome the arrangement. The Spihar or Sphere, I'm not sure. A TikTok star with 3.5 million followers accused Cross of using their image in fundraising days without permission. That's also the Newsom campaign, the Newsom campaign on Twitter. Oh look, Kid Rock supports Gavin Newsom. No, he doesn't. Kat Apuga Zulay, a progressive YouTuber now running for Congress, told Wired that she, too, was featuring girls' materials without consent. Isn't that illegal? That seems illegal to me. What we need is investment in independent media. Spihar said. Yeah, it's not a typo. It appears to be a Spihar. Kind of cool. Not another middleman. So I guess I was right. It's just money laundering. Some Democratic creators defended the program, including Elizabeth Booker, Houston, and Ali O'Brien, both of whom were reportedly offered high-paying slots in the incubator. I'll not call that. Others, like Keith Edwards, a YouTuber who rose to prominence last year, blasted it as predatory. The process sought comment from the influencer's name in the article as well as from the 1630 Fund. Yes, I have received compensation to supplement years of previously unpaid work, Predator told the Post. The fund supports content creation and sustainability while maintaining zero ownership, editorial control, or messaging input. That's a lie by your own admission, though. They have no approval process, no deliverables requirements, and no review or oversight of what I create. Predator said that the expectation that creators should indefinitely absorb all labor costs without compensation is neither sustainable nor reasonable. What a strange thing to say! So, not only you're a propagandist, you also want to be a propagandist in being paid to be a propagandist by the party. Okay, alright, I guess. I wouldn't be the kind of guy to say that out loud, but sure? I don't know about all that. It's a little bit strange. strange admission. We can't expand by an organization or better because of or better cause with shared values. We'll see a clear disclosure, Berto said. Spokesperson for the 1630 Fund told the Post. We're doing crucial work to spread a pro-democracy message to Americans. Lamau. Creators working with girls have always been encouraged to talk about their involvement in the program. Brown said that as a non-profit, course creators are not paid to support candidates, but they are free to do so in their own time. This is just propaganda machine, and you're gonna tell me, oh, they're not getting paid to support candidates? Shut the fuck up, dude, please. Nobody's going to believe this. No humans, at least. The 30 Fund's work with its course is limited to our role as a fiscal sponsor, the rep said. We process donations on courses we have, but are not the original source of funding. And yet to see one of these influencers win a debate with a smart conservative, for example. And I have to get excessive money out of politics. Yeah? The Democrats fail to understand it's not the messenger, but the message that's been projected. Basically, they learn nothing from the 2024 election. Or whatever, I don't use the social messaging platforms. I'm not influenced by anything other than the weather. Check this out. And this is absolutely fucking hilarious, because they keep wasting millions, hundreds of millions, on propaganda, and people are like, nah. Nah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't like that. That's kind of silly. I think that's kind of stupid. I don't know about all that. I think you're lying to me. So I'm not gonna vote for you. I'm gonna vote for the other guy. Because he makes you mad. God damn. That was kind of a trip, wasn't it? Let's go back to games for a little bit, shall we? We got out of line for a second there. So I was been seeing these running around this week, and I understand why people think this is gonna be bad, but there might be more to this. So we have this here from Take for Gamers. Dragon Age Veilguard writer appointed to senior quest designer at Bethesda. Potentially hired for Elder Scrolls 6. And people were saying, oh god, this is gonna be trash. This is gonna be hilariously bad. And it could be. Let's be real, it could be. Let's get through this first. What was left of Bioware has been plunged to rock bottom thanks to Dragon Age Veilguard, which ruined the reputation of one of the most beloved RPG series and one of the most prominent developer studios in the industry. Most of the studio has been disbanded following such a failure. Now, one of the writers behind Dragon Age Veilguard has been hired at Bethesda as senior quest designer. Why it matters? Dragon Age Veilguard was a disaster, but energy is speculated to be brought into Bethesda games. The future of RPGs may be ruined. I mean, I don't know, Bethesda is actually ruined themselves on their own anyway. So who knows? Senior writer, Sucker Punch Productions. Ghost of Yotei. I'd say this is also kind of dangerous here. We need to see about that. Range. Veilguard. We can see whether the different story arc, including missions, related character/relationship romance scenes, and a song. Writer of Siege of Weishaupt mission. Initial writing on the Veil Jumper storyline and quests. And I has narrative planning and design. Remember this, because this is gonna be important. John Dambro was a senior writer/narrative designer at Bioware and helped craft Darren's story arc, Veil Jumper storyline, and a few other missions for the game. His other work for Bioware also includes co-leading writing on Mass Effect Andromeda, and being credited as a senior writer for Anthem. Weren't Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem massive failures too? I'm starting to doubt here. Doubting is fine, I guess. Given Bioware experience, may raise questions, but he has also helped make some of the best written games ever. His most recent work is for the coming Ghost of Yotei. To be fair, we don't know anything about the game, because it's not out, but it looks to be a fucking disaster compared to Tsushima. But in the past he has worked for Telltale Games, working for Game of Thrones. I don't know about Telltale Games, anyway. Excuse me, I think I'm gonna take a sip here. My throat is croaking, man. I have a couple of really important articles I want to go through. Actually, he was also a senior writer for Bioshock Infinite, Oriole at Sea DLC, which was one of the best expansions ever. Okay, alright. Interesting. It's only a matter of receiving the right opportunity, which he may find at Bethesda. It's unlikely they'll hire a new writer for Starfield's next DLC, which is probably nearly finished by now. Moreover, Bethesda isn't reportedly working on the next Fallout game. Given this, The Elder Scrolls 6 is the only option left. Joe has already shown love for the Elder Scrolls series, and is a big Skyrim fan. As such, I consider Elder Scrolls 6 to be in good hands. What a switcheroo at the end, what the hell? That's a switcheroo. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people demanding about this. Oh my god, it's gonna be trash, what the hell? Impossible to redeem. I have these tweets here. By Christina Tasty, she loves Dragon Age, and even she was trashing on Velgor because it was really bad. Look into this, I don't two words for one reason. I said that Velgard had one good mission, the Siege of Weishaupt. And that I wish the entire game was like that because it actually stopped being annoying and learned to be an actual game. This was the guy responsible. But it gets better, or worse, depending on how you looked at it. He was responsible for dabbering, I'm supposing it's this guy here. There's the list in several characters of the companions, only bogged down by the general duration of the game. It makes sense that this guy also wrote for Garrus in Mass Effect 3. I don't know anything about Mass Effect, so no idea. The rightest thing I had to say about Velgard, this guy seemed responsible for. In NFL terms, it's a bit like they pulled the best player from the 0-16 Cleveland Browns. That good? I have no idea. I guess I understand the comparison, but we'll see if it's actually good or not. I think the biggest issue is that from what I've read, he was also responsible for Mass Effect Andromeda's companions. That's where I'll be raising an eyebrow. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? As they mention here. Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem. Yeah, it's not looking great. That's looking kinda bad. That's looking kinda bad. But I guess we could be perhaps a little bit hopeful. I have no idea. But it's plausible. It's not gonna be trash. Just because of this guy. There are other reasons for The Elder Scrolls 6 to be kind of a bad game, sadly. I don't like bad games. I don't want games to be bad. But it keeps happening, so I'm gonna laugh at them. Speaking of games that are not doing so hot, let's go to the mysterious land of Japan. Oh, do you like gacha games? Things are not looking good. Japan's gacha game industry in a sinking titanic phase, the developer says. Switching to console game development not an easy solution for many. Developers in Japan are starting to feel like they can't expect much of a future from working on domestic mobile games. I mean, what did you expect? This comes after they announced the end of service for both the Japanese versions of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Dragon Quest of the Stars, which have been running for 10 years, so it's not nothing. And this is not to say that gacha games are dying. I hope it did, but it's not the case. But there are other competitors. Have you seen Chinese and Korean games? Yeah. Have you seen Blue Archive? Have you seen Nikkei? Have you seen... what was the other one? Genshin Impact, the Hoyoverse, obviously. The other one, the one with the boats. Azure Lane? Yeah, they have some really interesting assets, dare I say. And it's clear to me, in the age of gacha games that have gameplay, it's over. What a shame. Square Enix recently announced that it will be discontinuing two of its decade-old mobile gacha games in Japan, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Dragon Quest of the Stars. With the market growing saturated and development costs constantly rising, end-of-service announcements are unfortunately nothing new in the industry. I mean, if anything, something new is lasting for 10 years. And developers in Japan are starting to feel like they can't expect much of a future from working on domestic mobile games. Moreover, according to some, professionals who only have experience working on Japanese-style mobile games are having trouble finding work in other fields like console game development, which is a little bit strange, right? I would understand if it was a case of, well, there are different platforms, so you need different know-how as the programming language and whatnot, right? That makes sense. That would make sense. But that doesn't seem to be the case. That seems to be that the logic of the games is completely different. Prompted by the recent announcements by Square Enix, mobile game developer Sumaru commented on Twitter. Dragon Quest of the Stars and Final Fantasy Brave Exvius are shutting down. As someone active in the industry, I once again feel the gacha games are becoming like the Titanic. Staying in this industry means clinging to one of the limited spots of a sinking ship. I think all of it will go under, but the number of seats that can stay afloat will keep shrinking. Yeah. This is another schism in games, I guess, which is not uncommon. I don't know if I can properly explain this. I wish you could, but I don't think you can. This happens all the time when you have a lot of people enjoying something. In this case, gacha games. Gacha games used to be, not always, but the big gacha games used to be mechanics focused. Obviously you have the gacha mechanics and all that, but they had an actual game beneath that. They became really popular with Genshin Impact. I never played Genshin Impact, you cannot get me to play a whole game. The thing is, with Genshin Impact the gameplay loop became really simplified, and a lot of people got into that. So, when those players went to different gacha games, I think they were expecting similar results, but the games were much different. You cannot compare Genshin to Global Fantasy, for example, it doesn't make any sense, right? So, I guess the old gacha games are just a relic right now because not enough people play them. Also, some of them have been running for way too long, they have become stale, some of them have become kinda bad. Yes, I'm looking at you, Rumble Fantasy. You had a bunch of debacles, so no wonder. I do believe Rumble Fantasy is probably next in the chopping block. A little bit of a shame, but sometimes you have to do it for something newer and perhaps better to come around. Japan's mobile scene has long-running hits like Fate Grand Order, Monster Strike, and Puzzle Dragons that have managed to stay profitable for over a decade in the limited seats. But even the companies behind them, like Puzzle Dragons developer Gung Ho, have struggled to produce any new hits in the meantime, later article. It's not the case for Zen games. Sadly, they have the horse women. God, they're making a lot of money with that. Moreover, recent high-budget projects like Aniplex's Tribe 9 has suffered shutdowns in mere months following launch. That's way too common, to be fair. That's way too common. Amid such circumstances, Sumaru feels like his career has reached the limit. If I continue as a gacha gaming director, I won't see my income grow, as I don't know how long I'll even have my seat for. On the other hand, he doesn't see any easy paths towards changing fields. It's a big problem because we don't really have portable gaming anymore. Phones were supposed to be the next, but they're just a gambling machine now, which is kinda bad. I mean, and the last actual portable device was the 3DS. I'm not counting the Switch, you're gonna convince me. And that thing is kinda old now. So it's a case of them losing their niche, which is always a problem. But I do believe they might be able to move forward to, let's say, console or PC development. Aoi, representative of indie US games, or Indias, I'm not quite sure, a Japanese company specializing in Unreal Engine development, as that it's already so hard to get off the sinking ship, and yet the industry is clearly in a decline. Moving from Japanese-style mobile game development into console game development is very difficult, even though the opposite is simple. Perhaps because gacha games are far more simple than actual console games. Yeah, that makes sense. People who build their entire career in mobile games are facing an extremely troubling situation. Sumaru confirms that this is precisely the problem he is now struggling with, as 100% of his career has involved managing online mobile games. Ooh, you hate to see that. But more than that, you love to see that. I've become quite upset with gacha games recently. They're just a bunch of nothing, I'm afraid. This has to be an issue that particularly affects Japanese devs working as mobile game planners, a position more similar to game designers in the West. Joining game studio commands. The people in planning positions at mobile game companies have skills that aren't easily transferable to console games or other fields, so they can switch jobs unlike artists and programmers. They just need to learn new skills like everybody else. I don't know, feels a little bit like a co-op. If you know it's sinking, you need to prepare for the inevitable changing career. Just be proactive, I suppose. Part of the issue also stems from technological requirements, as Alwi explains. The console sector values skills in complex, polished action gameplay and high-end graphics technology. These are skills you can apply as is to mobile games. For mobile games, server technology is indispensable. It's not essential for console games, so demand is low. Console games also have strict TRCs, technical requirement checks, imposed by the platform holders, which makes player experience a huge advantage. I mean, if you're really good with server technology, that's actually really valuable. It doesn't have to be games, I mean, there are still online games for especially PC. So that's an obvious switch of career, but you can also work on like social media, just anything that uses servers, which is more things. If you know how to optimize it really well, you're gonna be valuable. It makes sense to me. Given that Japanese companies often very clearly distinguish between new hires, freshly graduated young employees whom the company trains from zero as a future investment, and mid-career hires who are expected to be experienced and immediately fill a vacancy, this puts mobile game veterans wishing to switch to console game in an undesirable position. Such individuals are unfortunately likely to increase in the future. Yeah, but I mean that happens all the time, right? I mean, game development has changed a lot since its inception. And this is just another step, another evolution, I suppose, another permutation. It sucks if it affects you, but at the same time, I don't think it's anything new. According to a survey by the Japan Online Game Association, source Ask Japan, the domestic online game market was worth an estimated 1.115 trillion yen in 2024, about 7.48 billion USD, a steady decline from 2023's 10.89 billion USD. Meanwhile, average mobile game development costs in 2024 rose to about 3.53 million per title, 4.7 times higher than 10 years ago. Yeah, economy is not that good anymore. So not only you have to spend more, people are willing to spend less on you. Combined with the fact of market oversaturation and strong competition from high-budget publishers in China and South Korea, how did they know? The domestic gacha game market will likely have a difficult time regaining its momentum. Yeah, makes sense. Like this guy here. The gacha market was truly captured by the Chinese and even South Korean games. Games like Genshin Impact is dominating in Japan. Korean games such as Blue Archive is hugely popular as well. While Nexon Games has collaborations with the Japanese company Joestar, the vast majority of Chinese gacha games, such as Genshin Impact, is mostly developed outside of Japan. Genshin Impact opened the eye of the Japanese crowd that you can have high quality in gacha games. For Genshin, PNG and GP gacha games are so popular, the standard's quite low. I don't even think Genshin is a good game. I've seen gameplay when it's released, and it was like, whoa, this is really cool. 40 minutes later, oh my god, this is so boring. Yes, I got bored of the game just by watching it for 40 minutes when it's released. I understand why people are just constantly playing it. It's grind as all hell too. You need to keep grinding not only the gems to get the meta characters and all that, but you need to keep grinding like accessories with good stats. Yeah, don't know about that. I'd rather not. I'd just rather play a normal game. I'm in that crowd at this point. And when you think about it, these gacha games just seem to be like a strange degeneration of what the MMOs used to be. Pocket sized, simplified, and even more pay to win. Not a big fan. I was going to say, not a big fan. I don't think gacha games are dying. I wish they did a little bit. It's a shame we're losing actually interesting games, because I did play both Tron Quest of the Stars and Brave Exvius. But at the end of the day, gacha game is just a gacha game. It can only take you to a certain point. Wonder what's gonna happen with all that. I'm expecting more end of service. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next year. That's gonna be interesting. Speaking of the Hoyoverse, and that's gonna be really funny. Hoyoverse Honkai, Nexus Anima infringes Nintendo mount patent from Palworld lawsuit. IP consultant says, but since they're Chinese, it doesn't matter, I suppose. The patent in question has become very broad following mid-case amendments by Nintendo. Get through this. Even if you have funny animals like Yamper here, you cannot get me to play a Hoyo game. I'm sorry, I'm not into that kind of life. Cannot be convinced. Ever since Nintendo, the Pokemon Company first announced the patent infringement lawsuit against Palworld Maker, Pocket Pair, people have been worried about the broader implications of the case. According to IP consultant Florian Muller, has been covering the lawsuit extensively at Games Ray. Hoyoverse is a coming open-world creature collecting game, Honkai Nexus Anima, appears to fall within the scope of one of the Nintendo patents Palworld is accused of infringing. It doesn't matter. They are Chinese. The Chinese can just laugh in your face because they never cared about copyrights or anything like that. That's always been the case. The patent in question is the recently amended Mounting of Flying Objects patent, with this number here. This patent originally focused on the ability of players to smoothly switch between different mountable creatures in-game. Early in litigation, a Japanese patent attorney noted that the seamless speed described by Nintendo didn't apply to Palworld's glider pal mechanics, and thus judged that there was no infringement. Moreover, Pocket Pair made swift moves to remove the ability to glide on piles from the game, which is a shame. It was actually really useful. You could do some vertical movement shenanigans with I don't remember the name of the pal. Hanky? The two hands from the desert. Really useful. But after Nintendo amended the patent mid-case, using language more described as puzzling and not saying other patent claims, it began to broadly cover any scenario in which a player summons and mounts incredible flying creature. Which is arguably a basic mechanic that can be seen in many games. One such example being Honkai Nexus Anima. How about World of Warcraft? I'm not gonna show that. It's just a collection game. And, but the mechanics are completely different, so they have no case. The mechanics are fucking different too in Palworld, they didn't care. Sure, this is auto chess, but Palworld is open world survival crafting. Pokemon is just turn-based RPG. What? That's insane. August 29th, Hoyoverse released preview footage of Nexus Anima's gameplay. The video shows the player riding both ground-based and flying creatures within the first 30 seconds. Based on the video, Muller says Nexus Anima clearly infringes the Nintendo patent, and that this infringement demonstrates how much the patent overreaches. It is so basic that it cannot be right to prohibit all other game makers from implementing it, he comments. It's important to note that this does not mean Nintendo will take legal action against Hoyoverse, and the outcome of other litigation with Pocket Bear still remains to be seen. Also, you know that Hoyoverse has a massive amount of money because their games are hugely popular for some godforsaken reason. Well, if Nintendo doesn't try to go after them, they simply hurt their own case against Pocket Bear. Kinda does. I think they have to from a legal standpoint. Which is... it's kinda funny, isn't it? It is kinda funny, isn't it? Ah, man. Oh, fuck, my throat's killing me. Wanna get through a couple more stuff here. We're finishing for today. We'll need to finish earlier today, as I mentioned, but... yeah, my throat is not doing great. I keep drinking, but it does nothing. So, also from Japan, we have streamers earn more money from playing games than devs do from making them. Japanese indie devs voice need for revenue sharing with content creators. How about no? How about no? People are just gonna stop playing your games if you do that. So congrats, you played yourself. Japanese devs approach revenue sharing with content creators amidst live streaming becoming more profitable than game development. In so many games published every year, especially in this sector, the oversaturation of the market and high speed at which content spreads online make it increasingly difficult for developers to make a profit nowadays. Prompted by a recent discussion on the topic over on the Japanese side of Twitter, game designer Okudakaku shared his frustrations with the relationship between developers and content creators. He comments that games have in some cases become more profitable to streamers than content creators, and content creators than to the actual game developers. Sounds like escalation to me. A famous streamer played the game I made, but despite their stream getting hundreds of thousands of views in just one night, they didn't include a link to my game in the video's description. It didn't have any positive impact on the game's sales. They just got a free ride from my game, make a quick buck, and that's it. This is what I've been experiencing lately. So I really wish something could be done about it. Seriously. Okuda posted. Apparently the live stream in question had around 2 million subscribers at the time. Interesting. I mean... but what can you do about it? You sold the product, and people did something else with the product, and that something else was more profitable. They don't have to add a link to your game. They're just dedicating a full stream to playing the game. If people want to play the game, they will look it up and they will buy it. I bet a lot of people are waiting for sales as usual, even though they're not as important for indie games. Acknowledging that there's nothing inherently wrong with people showcasing content to their audiences, interaction designer Takayuki Fukatsu suggested that the problem lies in social media platforms reinforcing a system which values quantity over quality. In a society ruled by social media, it is way more cost and labor effective to do daily showcases of masterpieces that took 3 years to make, rather than working hard for 3 years to make a masterpiece yourself, he posted, reflecting on the problem in a broader sense. This is also a fucking cope, right? Because how many streamers actually make this great amount of money? Not a whole lot, let's be real. Let's be real. If it's so easy, why are you not a successful streamer? Indie dev guy. That's what I thought. The possible solution for this problem, he suggested that more live stream platforms should introduce a revenue sharing system whereby 50% of the money a content creator earns through streaming a game would go to its developers. Surely that's not gonna be misused. However, he admits that this would be quite difficult to implement, as there is no organization in the game industry that could back such an initiative yet. I have the Japanese Society for Rights of Authors, composers and publishers handles royalties and copyrights for Japanese musical artists. While many people who watch game content creators are gamers themselves, a great portion of views also come from casual live stream enjoyers and people who do not consider themselves gamers, those who are less likely to buy any game in the first place. There's no point here. If they're gamers, they might buy the game. If they're not gamers, they're not going to buy the game. Your input as a streamer doesn't really matter in that regard. As someone who would rather watch somebody else play a game that I can play myself, even if there's a link in the video description, it probably won't make me buy the game. That's certainly why developers should implement streaming fees for their games. I know you just commented, but why? But why? You're just watching a guy playing, and the guy probably bought the game. I just don't get it. I'm saying guy, could be gal, okay? It's not a big deal. I don't know, it seems a little bit strange to me. Seems a little bit of, oh, but where's my money? What is my part? I don't know all that. On a related note, a developer who's in the battle game recently became a huge hit in Japan, proposed a more optimistic idea on how live streams and playthroughs could tie into boosting the sales of the game. According to developer Namo Takahashi, more content creators should split their game playthroughs or streams into short episodes and upload them one by one over the course of a few days in order to create anticipation for more and motivate players to buy the game. These guys are about to rediscover the concept of Let's Plays. Look, if the game is short, it's short, okay? You cannot blame me. You cannot blame yourself. Nothing else prevents spoiling the whole experience as soon as the game releases. However, these are only some hypothetical ways to get around the problem, not actual solutions. Social media has become an integral part of modern life. It's extremely difficult to find the perfect middle ground that could benefit both content creators and game developers, and the creatives by extension. But, like Fukatsu suggested, it will definitely become important to reevaluate these systems that favor quantity over quality, and putting such ideas into words might be the first step towards a more significant change. Okay, there's something you need to learn here, because it's really important. When people are watching a streamer play a game, most of the time, at least if the streamer does variety, they're not watching the stream just because it's that game. It's because they like the streamer. And therefore, you're trying to back on, get back, to get benefits from something that has nothing to do with you. That is the content creator fame. That's really strange. That's really silly. I don't know about that. Okay? I don't know about that. It's a little bit too strange. Because chances are, the people donating or whatnot to the streamer did so because they want to support the streamer. If they wanted to support the game, they would buy the game. I just don't understand this kind of cope. Maybe your game is not that good, okay? Maybe your game doesn't sell because it's not that good. Tough, I know. No replies, what a shame. No replies, what a shame. That's kinda hilarious. That's kinda hilarious to me. And let's be real. If you want to, once again, if you want to force people to do that, to give you a part of their earnings when they play your game, they're just not gonna play your game. They're just gonna do something else. So, you're probably gonna be selling less because your name and your game is getting out there less. Congratulations, you played yourself. What do they have here? I guess we can skim through this one. It's gonna be kinda funny. It's just a skimming. From CBR. 10 traumatic harem anime you should absolutely avoid. How about now? Yeah, Yusuke Sora crosses into taboo territory. There are enough harem anime that rely on gratuitous fan service and toxic relationships, but Yusuke Sora goes further than the most. The anime quickly escalates to more mature material, broaching taboo topics. The most infamous of these is how the show handles a romantic affair between siblings. Just to make it seem like an emotional, melodramatic love story, the manner in which that is performed is extremely disturbing. The world God only knows was derailed by misogynistic undertones. Yo, I didn't know it was that cool. On paper, the world God only knows sounds brilliant, and came obsessed with dating sims as these his skills to make real girls fall in love with him to save their souls. It's creative and being a sharp commentary on romance tropes. Oh, it has to be a deconstruction about everything. Shut up! You're gay and annoying. Unfortunately, the execution sinks that possibility. Because they're putting us to as if they are conquests. Yes, what did you expect? Not really, what the fuck did you expect? Each arc is identical. The hero manipulates their feelings to get their heart into the boards. That's how dating sims work. What are you talking about? Tonoboru mistakes harassment for humor. Nah, I think it is you who is wrong. Tonoboru is something called a harem classic. It's actually famous for the wrong reasons. This follows Ryuto Yuki, an unlucky high school student who finds himself in accidental affairs with multiple ladies who repeatedly fall for him. Far too many times, there are nothing but cringe-worthy gags that have nudity or harassment in them, and are burst off as harmless misunderstandings. It's written from the point of view of the guy, so you need to enjoy what's happening, and that's it. Repetition is agonizing. Sure thing, pal. Infinite Stratus has no redeeming qualities. I mean, it's kinda boring. Sure. Infinite Stratus had everything you needed to be a fun sci-fi harem story. The futuristic mecha suits and academy setting could have delivered exciting battles alongside romance. Instead, the anime focused almost entirely on shallow relationship drama and uninspired fan service. The lead Ichika, perhaps one of the bluntest protagonists in anime history. Look, if you don't like harem, that's fine. You don't need to deconstruct it. It ain't gonna work. Skill DxD is mostly exploitative fan service, what the fuck did you expect? The anime are synonymous with problematic harem as High School DxD. The show is openly about fan service, demons and angels, but the story pretends to be something it is not. Issei Hyodo, the protagonist, longs to be harem king, and the show offers this up as funny, even something to be wished for. The issue is not that there is too much fan service itself, but the anime tries to complicate the plot with surface-level emotional complexity. Inappropriate gags undercut gruesome moments, and female characters are reduced to eye candy with little agency. It's a harem, what the fuck do you expect? While the anime has some entertaining fights and flashy visuals, it's hard to take anything seriously when the writing treats every situation as an excuse for exploitation. Oh, then they exploit it to the women! Past Defend High School DxD is self-aware, but there's a fine line between parody and indulgence. Tenchimuyo hasn't aged well at all, I don't know about that. Tenchimuyo is often called the grandfather of modern harem anime. But being first doesn't mean it holds up. The series follows Tenchi Masaki, a perfectly average boy who suddenly finds himself surrounded by alien women vying for his attention. The anime set the template for decades of harem shows, it also introduced many of the problems that still plague the genre today. It's clear you don't like harem. That's fine. The thing is, you also don't understand what harem is about. Harem is about a guy that has a lot of women. You're a guy and you like women. Women good. Many women, many good. That's the concept of the harem anime. I don't understand how this is so difficult to understand. The vampire can have united supernatural action with romance. See, that's the problem. A harem anime is not really romance. Usually it's not, at least. It's just ecchi. It can be romance too, but doesn't have to be. But the plot prioritizes fan service, so the story is very relevant. The main hero, Tsukune, somehow finds himself at the school for masters, and nearly every girl he meets, they falls instantly in love with him. What follows is a parade of terrible cliches, and shots, and contrived situations that add nothing to character growth. Nigima, Master Nigimagi, has a disturbing premise. While the vast majority of her anime struggle with cringe-worthy fan service, Nigima, Master Nigimagi, overshoots by a amazing story around a 10-year-old boy who has dozens of older female classmates. Has the potential to be a light-hearted magical romp, turns intensely uncomfortable. The anime frequently supports snagging in compromising positions that are played for lies, generally involving lewd jokes or situations that seem exploitative. It's 2D, dude! It's fine! Makenki. Here's too many lies. Hey, well, fine. Viking is a great example of a harem anime that mistakes edginess for entertainment, mixing the supernatural fight sequences with incredible amounts of fan service. The show pushes its gags to terrible cringe-worthy levels. It starts with a cliché, soon turns from bad words, as a result of the anime's obsession with sexually charged violence. The human characters are constantly humiliated or assaulted, with death threats played for humor. Okay, alright. Monster Musume is fetish bait. The fuck did you expect from an anime called Monster Musume? At first glance, Monster Musume, everyday life with monster girls, seemed like a fresh spin on the harem formula. The idea of different monster girls competing for the affections of one protagonist is fertile ground for comedic humor and creative designs. Unfortunately, the anime ends up using this idea for fetish-driven fan service. The show continually pushes its situations to the extreme and is far too frequently balancing on the recipes of being disturbing. Okay, who's the author again? Demi Phillips, you're a fucking idiot! You're mistaking harem for romance. It's not the same. You wouldn't watch a... I think it's a bad comparison, but I'm gonna use it anyway. You wouldn't watch a porn movie to see if they actually get married. It's kind of the same, it's just... indulgence. Just spiciness. It's fine. It's not a big deal, okay? It's not a big deal. God fucking damn it, dude. That's why I hate fucking normies. They make everything worse. It's fucking awful. And let's finish for today with a couple of related things that aren't looking great. Finishing a positive, shall we? Here. In English, please. Dear players, we have just concluded a conversation with the Ministry of Digital Affairs, and specifically with the Secretary of State, Darius Standurski, regarding the Stop Killing Games initiative and the change to the unfavorable game pricing exchange rate on Steam in Poland. The Ministry expressed full support for these initiatives. Soon, together with the organizers of the Stop Killing Games initiative and with the support of the Ministry, we plan to contact the EOKIK, I don't know what it is, as well as the Ministry of Culture on this matter. We will keep you updated on the progress. So, Poland says Stop Killing Games is kinda cool, which is beautiful. They're dropping a bunch of Helldivers games here. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And something we didn't talk about yet, but I thought I did, because it's actually pretty cool. Splitgate servers are peer-to-peer now and forever. That's pretty cool. That's what we are asking with Stop Killing Games. It can be done. It's not that bad. Developer 1047 will be shutting down dedicated servers for Splitgate. That's a typo. Splitgate on August 29th as they shift focus on rebuilding Splitgate 2. But fear not, the game is not being killed. 1047 has decided to show the gaming industry how it's done and will be moving Splitgate server to peer-to-peer system instead. They released the following statement on their news page last week. Starting August 29th, the original Splitgate will be moving to peer-to-peer as we focus our resources on rebuilding Splitgate 2. The team said, "We know this game means the world to so many of you, and we are not about to let that disappear. This means you'll still be able to play matches and experience the magic that made Splitgate special, just in a different way. The original Splitgate launched via early access in May 2019 for Linux and Microsoft Windows on Steam, followed by Xbox One and PS4 ports in 2021, and CryEngine ports for Xbox Series XS and PS5 later that year." That's pretty cool! That's the only thing we're asking. It's not infinite support. They keep spinning that as infinite support because, as we all know, infinite support is just not feasible, right? It's way too fucking much. Thing is, it never was infinite support. This was just, we just want to keep playing the game. Just don't kill it. Just don't kill the game. That's it. And it can be down real easily, as we can see, so... What's the big deal? Well, you have to add some work to it. That's a big problem, because they're fucking lazy. Absolutely shameful. Absolutely shameful, man. God damn. How dare they? That's insane to me. But it can be done. And maybe this will show some people that, yes, maybe this is the path forward. That's actually a huge PR move because that's for real. Splitgate to kinda kill themselves a little bit with some shit they sell. So that's a good one. At least that's a good one. I'm complaining about that. But you know, kinda tired now. We'll try to rest for a little bit. Anyway, shit, fuck. How would you do that? Stop it. There we go. So, this is gonna be it for me today. I will be uploading the schedule for next week tomorrow as usual. But we can expect the same shit. More Final Fantasy VI, more Pokemon Colosseum, more Bloodstained. We might be finishing Bloodstained next time, I'm not sure. I think I'm set for great progress, so hey, I got the bad ending already. So that's actually looking good. If I can finish that, I will. If I can't, that's probably okay. So we'll be planning soon what else to play. I know I said more Castlevania mods, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. I need to see what I want to play, which is always important. Probably not a long RPG. Yeah, Final Fantasy for that, at least now. But, yeah, that's gonna be it. So thank you for coming, I hope you had some fun with some of the news here. And I will see you all on Monday for Final Fantasy VI. By the way, I couldn't go back to the cave to get the summer stuff. So I'm actually locked out of getting the Ultima weapon. Yay! I guess not that important. It's a little bit of a shame. There must be some alternatives anyway. They're a bit annoying, I didn't know that. Also, Ultima weapon really early. It looks at the end of the game. Pretty sure it's like half of the game. We'll make do with that. We'll make do. Yeah, thank you for coming. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, you know the rules. Keep complaining about these extreme overages these governments and companies have, and take care.